Tuples. Let us get into a new topic in Python. You're very familiar with lists. We have learned various methods of the list and some of the functions which work on the list. How to create a list, how to delete some items from the list, how to append data items to list, etc. Now we get into one more data type, and it's very special for Python. Therefore, in this lecture, you will learn how to create tuples. Tuples are also lists. Let us see the difference between tuples and our regular lists. And let us also learn various methods linked with the tuples. Okay, let's see. So first question therefore is, what is a tuple? Tuple is a sequence of values much like the list. Much like the list. So, for example, the creation, I put this kind of bracket and then give the numbers. In the case of list, I had the square bracket. So that is the one difference. To create a list, I use square brackets. To create a tuple, I use these braces. So then the items here, numbers maybe strings or whatever it is. So this is how we create a tuple. Simple way of creating a tuple. The values stored in a tuple can be any type. They are indexed by integers as it is in the case of lists. For example, tuple 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. It will give you 8 as the number. So say like list only. The important difference between a list and a tuple is that tuples are immutable. You cannot change once you have created a tuple. That is a very important point. We will follow that very soon. And tuple is a comma separated list of values. So very much like the list. So this is how we define a tuple, and then how do we access each element in the tuple. And this point is very important. Tuples are immutable. For example, one more tuple of alphabets, A, B, C, D, etc. Yeah, very similar to. Let us see tuple creation and operations. We already know this is how you create one way of creating a tuple. Just put some numbers, separate them by commas, and then inside braces like this. So if you say tuple, it immediately, as you see here, it doesn't give square bracket, it gives this kind of bracket. Okay, so tuple 1, naturally 0, 1, it is going to give you 4. Tuple 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, it is supposed to give you 12. Tuple like slicing, like lists. So naturally this is, as you see, it is 1, 4, 9. So starting from the beginning up to the 3 minus 1. So 1, 0, 1, 2, therefore up to 9 only, like the list. So tuple 1 to 4, that is starting from 1 up to 3. So let us see, 1 means 4, 9, 12, this is 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is how you get the various elements of a given tuple. Tuple of strings. So we dealt with tuple of numbers. Now we have tuple of strings. As you see here, there are 4 strings here. You create a tuple as we have created list, but as I mentioned, this bracket has to be used. So print names. Immediately it prints all the names as they are. Whole tuple is printed. So print names 1, 0, 1. Therefore, Sharon is going to be printed. Names 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So Suman is going to be printed. So now we use for loop to access each of the elements. So for name in the names. So print name. So naturally it is going to print all the 4 names which are present in this tuple. As you see, everything is very much like the list, all the operations. We'll come to the difference now. Now we come to the difference. Tuples are immutable, whereas lists are mutable. I can change the elements in the list. Let us see, as we have already done, for example, list 10, 34, 12, 5. So print list, it prints that value. and then I say list 250 0 1 2. That means I am going to replace 12 with 50. As you see, after mutation, as you see, 10 34 55 12 has been removed. In other words, lists are mutable. I can replace these elements with some other numbers elements. Let us check with the tuples are immutable. What do I mean by that? For example, we have created a tuple here, create a tuple, and the contents of the tuple, you say print tuple, tup, immediately it prints the content of the tuple. Now I want to say tuple 290, that means 0, 1, 2. I want to replace 70 by 90. Let us see what happens. And you get error message, type errors. It cannot, in other words, you cannot replace the elements of a tuple. You cannot replace, and therefore they are called tuples are immutable. Immutable. Let us go to the next. So let us see the various methods of lists and tuples. As you have seen earlier, so directory, we have created a list here, and then directory list, you have come across these. All these are methods of the list. But in the case of tuple, we have got count and index. These are the two lists. Two methods are there of tuple. So append, insert cannot be used with tuple. So these methods cannot be used with tuple to add elements to a given tuple. So let us see. Tuple can be put on left hand side of an assignment statement. So this is an assignment statement. I've got now this tuple contains two names, name and surname. I can say name comma last name, and immediately, as you see, print last name, it is going to print D'Souza because D'Souza is assigned to last name. Print name, it is going to print less than. So this way I can assign these values to these two variables. So for example, x comma y is equal to 25. Naturally, print x, it will print 20, and y, it is going to print y. So therefore, tuples can be put on left hand side of an assignment statement. So here, that is what we do. Tuples are comparable. You can compare two tuples. This is one more thing. So comparison operator, that is relational operators, work with tuples and other sequences. If the first item is equal, Python goes on to the next element and so on until it finds element that differ. So let us see. Now 10, 5, 2 and 10, 2, 6, 0.1. So 10 compares with the 6, 5 compares with the 2 and 2 compares with the 0.1. So and naturally both all the three are greater, therefore it is going to return true. So Denzel Sharon is asking greater than Denver Shelley. So Denzel. So this comes, Z comes before, well, this, it is true. Therefore, it is true. First, it's true. Therefore, it's completely true. Though here it is not true. So it is true in the case of first. So is Sharon greater than Shelley? False, because A, this is E. Please remember, you have to put a comma there. You have to put a comma there. That's very important. So Sharon SHA is less than Shelley because this comes before Shelley in the dictionary. Therefore, false, not greater. Let us see. Is 510 less than 315? False, because 5 is not less than 3. Therefore, it is false. Is 510 greater than 315? Yes, true, because 5 is greater than 3, though the next number is less, but first number is greater. So therefore, we notice that tuple, we can compare tuples, the values which are there present in tuples. With that, we come to the end of this tuple, and thank you. I hope you have understood the concept of tuple, how it differs from the list, and only on one point, that is tuples are immutable.